Diggity Daffodil. You're listening to Slurmcast, a podcast for no reason. Today we'll be discussing the second Futurama movie, The Beast with a Billion Backs. My name is Michelle Burlingame. With me are Tommy Roulette.
How's it going?
And Pete Woodward.
That's me.
Our guests today are friend of the show, Bill Squire, and friend of Bill Squire, comedian Liz Blanc.
Welcome.
Hello,
Hi.
everyone.
Hello.
I'm back.
Are you going to try and poison Michelle or something while you're sitting there? 'Cause you're awful
I'm going to move my drink to the other side.
What
of
number
the
is this,
table
Bill?
here.
Am I that?
Not
This is-
include,
well, because I did
not counting stand-in co-host.
Okay, not counting those. I think this is 4.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is you're 7 deep. That's
Yep.
that's enough to win a national championship or something.
Mm-hmm.
We're having your jacket made currently.
Oh,
But,
is that for real? Because I would love that.
but it's by a person with very small hands in China, so it will take a long time.
Well,
And then the
I'm a very
shipping is a
patient person.
bitch. And
Very
also,
patient.
they're a child, so it's probably illegal. I should have not said that.
Is it illegal here or just illegal?
Just illegal here.
general.
It's unethical to use
Okay.
child labor in other countries, but that doesn't stop lots of corporations from doing it.
Corporations are rarely ethical. All right, we're off to a great start.
Yes, we're trying to get on NPR, so we're trying to lean into the
This is
more
Slurmcast,
serious
a
topics.
podcast on
They should do a
ethics.
tiny desk for podcast for NPR.
They should.
I don't know.
I
I don't know how that would work,
They're
but
great ideas. And speaking of Tiny Desk concerts, they've got the finalists up. Supremely talented musician and good friend of ours, Scott Reynolds, has
Yes.
an entry. So go look it up. It's a beautiful song called "The Boy Who Broke Your Heart," and he's a fantastic guy and an amazing musician and singer. Vote for him because he deserves
it
it.
does not belong on NPR whatsoever.
Nope, it's too good. Anyway, I had to watch another 4 episodes of the show yesterday.
Yeah.
It's a very long time to sit watching this. I don't have the attention span anymore.
To get through all the episodes?
Yeah.
But it's not like an episode if it's... Are you getting ahead?
Well, I'm just watching the movie, but it's
Yeah,
4
it's-
episodes.
Yeah.
Did you all watch it on Hulu?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've seen it enough times.
Yeah.
I never get to, like...
Right. No, I'm just because I watched it on the DVD, so I'm just curious if
There's differences.
there was in the last
Yeah,
one.
the last
And-
one there
yeah,
was was it the Torgo's executive powder?
Yeah,
was
none
in
of
there,
that
and
was
you
in
didn't
there.
get any of that.
Was there any commercials in between or anything? Because it wasn't brought to you by anything.
I
Well,
don't
like-
think so. Well, there was Charleston Chew. They made a couple Charleston Chew jokes, but
Yeah.
no Torgo's. I don't remember anything that would have specifically been
There wasn't anything that
Weird.
stuck out as
yeah.
They did the previously on at the beginning of each one.
Oh yeah, that was.
The thing that blew my mind though, the Jumbotron number
Yeah.
1, super fake out where they're just here's the credits, and then the ship flies in and goes into the screen, and then it turns into Steamboat Willie.
I was so excited to hear your take on this.
Oh,
week's
this was
Jumbotron.
the best Jumbotron cartoon ever because it was referential to something everybody knows, and it was actually funny with the Zoidberg running on the paddle boat and doing his I could watch that all day long. And then the Leela, that bent over weird steering wheel dance thing where it's
with the kind of rubbery legs.
Steamboat.
yeah.
A little offsetting, like a little off-putting to me. Like I don't like those old animations. Like I
No.
really don't like those. They come across very creepy to me.
And racist.
Well, yeah,
Not even
Most
on
of them
purpose,
are.
just
Yeah.
most of them are just purely racist.
yeah, that's absolutely true.
As we've discussed with our friend Bosco over and over again. But you had mentioned on at the end of the last episode we recorded that this picks up right after the end of Bender's Big Score.
Yeah, this leads right into it
So
with the
the
fabric
of the
space
universe,
rips
yeah.
open.
But you don't really need to absolutely see the first one to even.
well, Liz
No.
hasn't seen any of them.
Right.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
what are
It's
your
a
thoughts on it
self-contained-
starting that way?
Yeah, I just watched the one in preparation for today.
And were you confused at all, or
I was a little bit. I looked on Wikipedia for what was
Some-
kind of going on.
Ah,
And then I watched the 4 right in a row today. And
okay?
yeah,
it's a lot to take in, isn't it?
it is. It is.
I mean, even for because so I'm the least. It's hard for me to say I'm the least familiar with this show now because we've watched 80 some episodes of the show or something.
Right.
But I was the least fanish about it. Like I'd watched a bunch of it a long time ago and then didn't really keep up. So I'm the ignorant one when it comes to explaining or talking about things. And it's hard when there's a lot of characters. There was a lot of callbacks too. Like there's a lot of little cameo characters that popped up in this too. I wonder if you'll be able to go, what's up with that guy? And we'll be like, oh, that's such and such.
Yeah, once it started, I started writing like the characters' names and what they all look like.
So you had a
Fly,
cheat sheet.
Orange hair.
Wow.
Hair
Do you
horn.
like? Are you a fan of cartoons at all, or?
Sometimes, like I used to watch South Park a lot, things like that.
Yeah.
What do you say
Daria.
are like what's more your speed when it comes to TV shows?
Yeah.
The Daily Show.
The Daily Show? Okay.
Yeah.
I've heard of it.
Have you?
Yes, it's very good.
Are you a Trevor Noah fan?
Not compared to Jon Stewart,
Yeah, me too.
but he's fine.
Those are
He's
big
fine.
shoes to fill, though.
That's true.
I hear him every morning on my Alexa because I have the Daily Show. There's a skill. So I have like my morning like routine. It'll play like the weather and
Did they fix the trumpets? Because people
no,
love
it's
to
too
bitch about the
fucking
trumpets.
loud. Oh my god, it's so loud.
So
That's really what wakes me up in the morning. Is that it's so loud. It's louder
just-
than everything else. And then the Reuters news app is like, today President Donald Trump. And then all of a sudden it's like the Daily Show with Trevor Noah.
Jarring in the morning.
Yeah, but it's the only thing that gets me out of bed.
What I do like about the Daily Show right now, though, is the amount of. I think the correspondents are very, very good right now between Roy Wood junior and Ronnie Chang, and they just. There's a lot of really funny people on that show, and that's what keeps it going. That's why Trevor Noah isn't nearly what Jon Stewart was, but the show itself is still got its own voice, and it's still very
Oh,
funny.
yeah.
and there could be
Yeah, I
way
agree.
like he's not bad. On
No,
it,
he's not
like,
bad
no,
at all.
Yeah, not at all.
Yeah.
No.
It's just a big change.
I mean,
It took him a little while to get like his groove, I think, but now I think he's got it.
Did you ever watch it? I did because I'm old, but like the original with Craig Kilborn.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it was
It was a
really
completely different show then. It
oh,
wasn't
for sure.
It was just a parody of the nightly news with those like silly stories, but it was and just like set up punchline jokes. It wasn't
Yeah.
political at all, really.
I mean, I think it leaned a little bit left because Liz Winstead was still involved.
Yeah,
But it was definitely more like here's goofy.
yeah.
But even then, if you think about it, I mean, I think Steve Carell was on when Craig Kilborn was on. Stephen Colbert was on when Craig Kilborn was on.
I
Like
think
they all
so,
transitioned.
yeah.
John Oliver?
in- Was John Oliver on that far back?
I don't know if he was that
Not
far
that
back.
far back, but he was. I mean,
He was on with Jon
he was
Stewart
on with
for
Jon
sure.
Stewart for a long time.
Yeah, but I don't think John Oliver wasn't on with.
He hosted the show when Jon Stewart was
But-
off making his movie in Europe. He hosted it for like an entire month, and that's what got him. What is it? Last Week Tonight? Is that the name of his show?
Yes.
Which
Yeah.
is very good too.
It's
Yeah.
very good.
Which, but we're talking about the '90s.
Yeah.
Which is, you know what? It's topical because that was sort of like when this cartoon came out. I mean,
Yeah.
not this one. This was 10 years later.
Well, that's one of the things I liked about this movie is if you watch this now, it seems like something that was made in the past 4 or 5 years.
Yes.
But this was made 2007, 2006?
Mm-hmm.
I think is
Something
when this
like
one
that,
came out.
Yeah.
And dealing with
It aired 2008 because
the open love
and
and
Yeah.
and all these topics and
10.
and like open relationships and the pronouns and all that stuff. That seems like a direct like pull from society when with Caitlyn and everything.
Oh, yeah.
But it was 10 years before that almost.
Well, and even the one that got me, and this is right at the beginning, is one of the first notes I have in here. It's like, so the space time thing has been ripped open for a month, and it's the Morbo news report, and he's like, it's been torn apart like flimsy human skin. And they show the people that are like out on the corner, like going, and then they're all tired, and then they
Yeah.
start again. It's like outrage fatigue. Like,
Oh, yeah.
outrage fatigue is if there's one thing that is just pervasive,
Yes.
now, it's just that. And
Yeah.
they're like, oh my God, they nailed this like 10 years ago. They were so on top of it because I think even the stuff like the what's the word, the open relationship with Colleen,
Yeah.
and
polyamory.
yeah, I mean it's really that's polyandry, I think, because I don't think she would have been down with bringing another lady in the situation given that arrangement, but that and the pronouns and things. like that was just such a left field thing. Like 10 years ago, that was like,
Yeah, and
that
that's
was way the fuck out.
yeah, and that's why it was so interesting, like watching it then and just being like, oh, these are just funny things. And like I was pretty young when this came out.
Yeah.
So now to watch it and be like, oh, they were making like commentary on stuff, kind of like, but being real silly about it with the genticles and all that crap.
Well, and I tried to keep up with what. Oh my God, this is jumping so far ahead. We'll come back to it.
All right.
But I like the professor where he says, "How scared should we be?" He goes somewhere between not at all and entirely. And Zoidberg's like, "I'll pick entirely," and just flips the fuck out.
Gruesome death awaits us all.
I have to say though, the word anomaly is a very scary word.
Why?
Because it's like, I don't know, it's just not known. It's just an anomaly. We don't,
it
when
sounds-
something's described as an anomaly,
It sounds like
it's
a
usually
charming
not
French
very
film
good
to me. I just think about it.
Amelie.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I hear anomaly, I think of the second Matrix movie and Incubus. So
oh,
it
I
is,
didn't
you're right.
think
It is a
about
bad
Incubus.
word. Yeah.
Oh, I never thought about that.
It
Now
just
that's
makes-
all I'm gonna think.
It
about
just
when I
makes me
hear
think
word.
that there was more of those movies about that like little manic pixie dream girl in France, where it's like there's Amelie 1 and Amelie 2 and Amelie 3. You're like, it's an Amelie. Well, which one? It's the third one where she becomes a mercenary and takes out the human trafficking ring. I missed it, but
Amelie with a vengeance.
yeah, she's adorable. The Sports Bot 5000, all sports canceled. Which I like. The Morbo and Linda thing has just gotten better and better throughout the course of the show. I think
It's one of my favorite dynamics.
like early
Those are the
on,
newscasters.
Okay.
with the bulbous head and his bubbly
Co-host. Yeah.
yeah they're just something about like when Morbo shows his emotional side, because there's a point in this where he flips out too. It's just like, oh, this is not normal for him. He's very
Vulnerable Morbo.
yes. It's not a usual thing. Have they had like the professor has a giant medium-sized ant, but are there? I couldn't remember if there's been like other ants or like various size, like jumbo ants, or
I mean, on other planets, there's been other bugs. Remember the whole bee episode, and then
yeah,
there
but those
was-
were space bees.
I don't think there were any.
Do you think the man-eating anteater would want to eat a giant medium-sized ant because it's large? Or do they only eat humans?
I mean, that bug had to either be made in a laboratory or come from another.
What if it was just radiation?
I mean, that's possible, but that means it would made. I mean, a radiation accident, but that means it couldn't just be an ant that's now on Earth. I watched a whole documentary about
Giant ants.
the bugs were giant back like millions and billions of years ago because of like the amount of oxygen in the atmosphere, and that's how they allowed it to get them big.
Was this movie produced by the Creationism Foundation down in Cincinnati, where they have the Noah's Ark Museum and
No,
things? This
I'm
was
pretty-
like
no.
was this has Sigourney Weaver narrating it?
No, I think one of the
Is it
cool
legit?
scientists was involved, like Bill Nye or
Neil deGrasse
Neil
Tyson or
deGrasse
something.
Tyson or something.
All right.
TV science.
Stephen Hawking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that
Stephen Hawking is in this one.
a lot.
A lot.
For real. Did any of you ever burn ants with the magnifying glass?
No,
Yes.
but I was photographed by the local newspaper one time putting them into an M&M Minis container.
Explain.
It was summer vacation. I was sitting with my friends on the sidewalk in front of my friend's house. We were putting ants in like a little, like, do you remember M&M Minis where
Yeah.
they came in
Yes.
a little
Yeah.
plastic?
The little
It was
tube,
like a BB.
yeah.
We were just putting ants in there.
Why?
And because it was summer and we
And then
were
you
in
give them to
fourth
people,
grade.
be like, they think they're gonna get M&M minis. Instead, they get ants.
Ants.
How old were you?
However old a kid going into fourth grade is.
And that's what was in the paper.
9, 10.
Yeah, probably like 10.
That's
First
that's
of
how
all-
far we've come.
First of all, this is like
What kind of
Central
ants were
Ohio
they?
back
I don't know.
in the day. And the reason I asked how old you were, because for all I know, it could have been some other art project from your college years. You're like, I'm going to fill all these containers with ants.
It was 2013.
We were we were sitting outside, and it was weird because there was a car accident that happened like right in front of us afterward. So the day really sticks in my memory. The day really sticks in my memory because we were sitting outside and this lady walks up to us. I guess she was just looking for kids playing outside for a story she was doing.
Not creepy at
for
all.
like the neighborhood newspaper. You know how they have those little like
the one out in front of my driveway that I refused to pick up.
The Lakewood Sun or whatever. Yeah, it was the Northland News. So the photographer, I don't know if she was a photographer and a writer or what she was doing exactly. I was little, I don't remember. But she came up and said, "Hey, can I take a picture of you? Is there an adult that can sign a consent form for me to take a picture of you?" And we got my friend's
for that
mom.
one before.
Yeah, we got my friend's mom out of the shower and had her sign because we were I guess we were the only kids out that day doing weird stuff. So the photographer, she's taking pictures of us. We're sitting out on the sidewalk in front of the front yard and everything, doing our little ant stuff. And then as she's leaving, this old lady drives into another woman at the intersection in front of my friend's front yard, and there was a big car accident right in front of us, and the newspaper lady was like, "I'm gonna go," and did absolutely nothing.
She left. She didn't even get.
She probably wasn't a reporter. I just see her going, "Is there anyone around that can
No,
sign
she
a
was.
release?"
Pictures.
She was because I still have a copy of the newspaper that I
she's
was on
going-
the cover of.
Is there anyone around that can sign a release? No? Well, tell me, have you ever played Neptune, King of the Sea? Or what about Tarzan, King of the Jungle? Which, anytime something horrible like that happens, the first thing that comes to mind is that episode of Different Strokes where Dudley and Arnold go in the back of the bike shop.
Jesus.
That was one of 2 times that I was on the cover of a newspaper, and the second time has reminded me of a great art school story, which I will tell in another episode.
Okay.
Oh, you gotta leave us hanging. All right, fine.
If you ask nice, she might tell you
rate
off
and
mic.
review us on iTunes.
Yeah,
the
she's
only way
holding
you
him
get
for
'em now.
ransom now.
Liz, you ever been in the paper?
Yes.
All right.
For something good or
What
for
did you
something
do?
bad?
For dumb stuff.
Yeah, it usually
My
is dumb
mom
stuff.
took my picture in a pumpkin patch and put it in the paper.
She just had it put in.
Yeah. We were in
Yeah,
a
people
small
do that.
town and it was happy fall. Here's Elizabeth in a pumpkin.
It's kind of like on the
patch.
news where you can
It's
send
very
the weatherman picture of your dog in the snow, and he'll be like, "And here we have Spot."
Not everybody's
Enjoying
bummed
the
out with the
weather.
snowfall.
Yeah.
My cat was in the paper. It was the perfect pet of the week.
Nice.
I filled out a survey and sent a picture, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we'll use this." And then they printed
Was
it.
it
It was
the-
like in
the
the
super cute
Lakewood
kitten?
Sun Post.
I think
Nice.
the closest I've come to being in the paper, in a non-entertainment capacity, because that's
I got
actually
negative
happened a few
comments
times.
on the story because
On
I
your
said,
cat?
yeah, because in one of the things it was favorite treats, and I said McDonald's French fries because she liked eating McDonald's French fries, and people were like, "How could you feed your cat McDonald's French fries?"
Oh,
Because that's what the cat liked. to
Yeah.
eat.
couldn't
That's
see
like-
that.
It was like a piece of one every once in a while. It wasn't her diet mostly consisted of French fries.
I'm surprised all that menagerie you have at home is still alive, to be honest. It's other than in a podcast or music capacity, I've never been in for any of my own actual accomplishments. But
Yeah, that doesn't count.
One time, my roommate in college made the front page of the paper at Ohio State because there was a cold snap and everything got covered in ice. And the steps going up to the undergraduate library were this really steep staircase. Do you remember Sullivan Hall on High Street? Okay,
Yeah.
so, and there's a picture of my roommate pointing at someone who fell on the ice. There's a guy, legs just completely slipped out from under him. He's hanging onto the railing. And my roommate's at the top of the stairs doing a full-on Nelson. He's got to live with that. I don't think I'd be proud of it, honestly. I'm telling his story because it was so wonderful. But no, it's I've tried to avoid the public eye in that capacity. There's no good that can come of it.
When I was 16, or I think it was 16, I was in the Boy Scouts, and I was like in a picture where we won the, what do they call it? Whatever the winter festival is, like there's like a competition, and we won that, and obviously it means a lot to me because I forgot what it's called and what year it was and everything. But I was in the paper for that, and then when I got arrested, so and then like the comedy stuff. But yeah, those are
yeah. I mean, it's the stuff that you do when you're not doing it on purpose that really counts.
Yeah.
Like
that one was like because we were hitting like they had hay bales and you had to hit it with like a battering ram, and that was one of the competitions. And there was only 2 of us that showed up from our troop, and so the one kid was like carrying it in the front, and I was in the back. And it's right when I was like pushing it, so it looks like I'm just like not even holding this thing, and this other kid's like holding the whole thing up, and they're like, and they won, and you can't even see him, and I'm just there as the hero.
it's like holding up a battering ram in one hand, just
exactly.
Poof. Did you ever make the paper when you were in the Philippines?
No, I don't. The paper in the Philippines is mostly just sensationalist news about how great the politicians are.
Oh, okay.
And then a lot of like we weren't even like paid attention to enough by anyone to like do any reports on.
That would be great. Just stay under the radar completely.
Oh yeah.
And still stick out. It's I mean, it's just it almost like it makes me nostalgic for when you had to wait for the paper instead of just getting blasted in the face with news all the time. Like really, it's just, I mean, it ties back into that outrage fatigue thing. Like I really can't even handle things anymore. Like most of today's Facebook feed and messages.
Delete your Facebook.
No,
that's what people are saying. Now.
Yeah, you know what? That's just,
I follow things on the internet.
I've tried. I've deactivated for like a day just to get away.
The reason why is because Messenger is like, we need to find an alternative to Facebook Messenger.
Today,
the only time I use Facebook Messenger is to talk to you guys.
You can just not go on Facebook too. Like
that's true.
I basically.
What am I going to do when I'm blowing off work, Bill?
Go on Imgur or.
I waste so much time.com.
Like yeah. There's so many great ways to waste time that are not Facebook related, and you don't have to get wrapped up in the shit that gets everyone fired up.
But I don't. Like I almost as a rule don't post on shit. Like I just don't engage. Mm-hmm. But today it was like some good friends of ours.
I don't get engaged. Here's an example of me doing it today.
No.
Okay.
One of our good friends' dogs was like put down this morning. So it was super sad. So all morning and through the afternoon, it was like people being like, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, yeah, it sucks. It's really sad. Their dog is dead. And that's terrible. Like that's
you can when you comment on something or whatever, you can stop seeing stuff in that post.
But then after that kind of died down, a whole other set of friends started posting about how some other friend of theirs died like really young. So it's just like today has just been morbid like all day long. And I had podcast business to attend to. I had some other things to attend to. And
the world is a morbid place, and that's just the way things are now.
Is that one of those emo band names?
Sucks. I don't know.
One of those super long emo bands. The world is a morbid place, and it's something we have to deal with now.
And it just sucks. There you go. I liked it when band names were like 3 words long at the most. We're so far off track. I don't even know where we are. Oh,
I was told there would be sugar syrup.
Well, there's Colleen that shows up out of nowhere. Like I love when they just introduce these characters. It's like, oh, and for the record, she like only appeared in this episode ever, but it was just like, oh, here she is, this new girlfriend of Fry's. Which
and I thought she had like been around.
Right?
Nope.
No, she's only in this.
Leading up to this, they've
poor
been like
old Brittany Murphy. Made me so sad because I forgot that
Yeah.
she was Colleen, and then when I heard her voice, I was like, "Oh, R.I.P."
It's her last voice role ever.
Yeah.
And
Really?
Here's the thing too: is not only is she a one-off character, the entire movie before this one is all about Fry being super in love with Leela.
Yeah.
and then it ends, and he's like, "Hey, and I got a new girl."
Which
moments later.
I mean, they've been ramping up that romance for 70 some episodes, and then it just completely derails out of nowhere on this thing. It was very strange.
But
And then,
very funny.
well, yeah, because it's like, oh, forget that. And I mean, that, at this point, I've almost resigned myself to the cartoon logic. It's been a while since you've been on.
You finally accepted?
I'm cartoon logic fatigued, too.
Oh, good. So you're okay with all of Bender's magic?
I'm not okay with it. I'm just exhausted.
All right. He doesn't like that Bender can pretty much do anything, that he can fit giant things into his body,
chest cavity.
Well,
all that
you know
stuff.
what? But I don't know when we determined it. But it might have been since you were on the show last. But I think there was an episode where they did pseudo-explain it. I'm like, okay, I'm fine with it.
I kind of want to hear your notes about what people look like.
Oh gosh, okay. Bender robot, Leela purple hair.
Not one eye.
That's very progressive.
Fry red jacket, basic white dude.
Yeah, it's tough being a white guy in 2018.
And 3004.
He's actually wearing James Dean's outfit from, was it Rebel Without a Cause?
I think, yeah.
Yeah, he's wearing the red jacket and white shirt from that.
I never put that together.
Yep.
I never did either.
Oh, man. What about the rest of them?
Zoidberg, lobster-looking guy.
Accurate.
Amy Wong marries Kiff. Kiff, alien. Farnsworth, scientist. Colleen, girl dating Fry.
I wish you would have put like basic white girl in there too.
What about Zapp Brannigan? Did you have
I
him?
put a military guy.
Oh, okay.
It's wildly complimentary for him.
Yeah, seriously.
And then Hermes, I just put nerd accountant ?
That's about
He's a
right.
bureaucrat.
Oh.
Level
Yeah,
34 now.
Yeah.
I wrote this down. I don't remember who said it to who, but someone called someone Chesty McNadnad.
Bender called Leela
Yeah.
Chesty McNagnag.
Oh, it's Nag Nag.
Yeah.
She's always nagging him.
That's fair. I just thought it was Nad Nad, which is equally pleasant to my ears. The thing about how much cotton candy Fry can eat. And then
How much cotton candy is 5.1 pounds?
5.1 pounds.
That's why his
I mean,
blood tastes so good on
Cotton
pancakes.
candy is nothing. Like,
Yeah.
weighs nothing.
I
You
know.
can't. I don't even
That's
think
what
you
I'm
could
saying.
weigh
How
it.
How much do you think that would be?
You used to make it professionally.
I know. Like, even if you use the plastic bag as extra weight,
Yeah.
even a one teaspoon of the sugar or whatever weighs nothing. So it's got to be cups and cups and cups. Like,
It's got to be boxes.
boxes,
like,
yes.
yeah. If I'm thinking of it like being delivered in like one of those totes that you'd get from like Walmart or something,
Mhm.
it'd probably be like 2 or 3 of those.
Well, a gallon
get
of
to
milk
5.
is like 5 pounds, right?
Mhm.
I don't think you could make 5 pounds fast enough in a normal cotton candy machine without it like shrinking down and losing density.
Well, like, what if you were making it as Fry was eating it? Like, if you're spinning the cotton
then
candy
you'd
and then,
weigh
like,
it.
How would you weigh it? And so you'd have to weigh, like, oh my God.
that's true. Yeah, I don't know. The point is, it's a ridiculous number.
I used to work at a place that would occasionally make cotton candy, just as a special event thing. So we had cotton candy making supplies. And one day we were throwing them all out because they were very old and bad and whatever. But the sugar, the flavored sugar comes in like milk cartons.
Mhm.
And the guy that I worked with was a horrible sugar addict. And as we were taking this stuff out to the garbage can, he just cracked it open and started drinking
Oh.
the sugar.
No,
And
that's
he got about 4 gulps in before it was too much for him. It was like,
You'd not
Before it just came a cinnamon
immediately-
challenge.
Mike, you're
immediately
going
go
to
into
kill
diabetic
yourself.
shock.
Like, this is not good. And I think it was probably like 6 years old. Like, it was just, bad
Yeah.
to begin with.
What flavor was it?
Pink.
cotton candy. Cotton
Vanilla.
candy is its flavor, right?
Pink vanilla. That's the standard cotton candy flavor.
Zoidberg throws up. His lovey-dovey stuff is making me vomit from my salt water and my
freshwater
stomach.
stomachs.
And there's the live stuff in them, so there's like the sharks and whatever, and then the frog and the lily pad. But then he's like, no, it's a double vomit is a sign of joy. Like, he is continually the best character on the show, I think, because he's just so gross.
Unpredictable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It all
Your
just
thoughts as this is your first time experiencing Dr. Zoidberg?
I liked him. Bender was my favorite.
Really?
Yeah.
I liked watching him evolve. He was just like a very dynamic round character to me. I liked him.
He did go through he pretty much was everything Bender was in this episode. Like they're pretty much all about Bender for the except for the last movie. Like it's Bender's big score, then this, but which has the whole B story is Bender. And then Bender's game, and then the last one, which just kind of supposed to draw everything out. But yeah, I hate Bender. No, I don't really hate Bender, but
he hates Bender.
He hates the
I
robot
thought Pete
devil
hated
more.
Bender.
yeah.
No, it was Tom and Horchie.
Okay.
And I just
At the
didn't
beginning,
have enough to hate anybody.
we both felt that Bender was the easy favorite character of people,
He
and
was,
when
the
really he was
Stewie.
just I don't know.
It's like
Now I there's just I don't know. He's just one dimension to me, I think.
Oh, he's
I
very
think
complicated. He's
Bender
a robot
does
that
grow
loves.
as a character quite a bit.
Yeah.
But I think Bender in the beginning was very much like a Stewie from Family Guy, where everyone was like, haha, Lois must die. You know, Stewie is going to be on all these shirts and buy him at Hot Topic. That's kind of like what Bender was. Just
What is it? Eat my shorts, kiss my shiny metal
Yeah.
ass. You know,
Yeah, he was the
Cowabunga
catchphrase
man.
guy.
yes.
But I mean, I never had the animosity. I just didn't understand the physics of this thing. That's all. There's a lot of so they go into how Fry and Colleen met, which is basically they're just hanging out in Times Square, and then they go and bang.
I loved the double. What was it? What do you call it? The double flashback, like the double romance flash. Because Zoidberg says, "I remember when Fry told me about meeting Colleen," and then it did the romantic music and the fade in to Zoidberg and Fry sitting on the bench, and then he goes, "So how did you meet Colleen?" And then Fry goes, "Well," and it
that
does it
was
all
beautiful.
over again.
That was
probably
really
my
one of the
favorite part of the whole of this whole episode part of the movie.
I also really liked when he was moving in with her. And, well, first of all, the way he asks, will you be moved in with by me?
Yeah.
Which is absolutely hilarious. But then the fact that the entire building is yellow.
Yeah, the building
So it just
moves
sinks down
to
into the ground.
and you hear the people going, but that, I mean, does that happen in times of stress or whatever? So they're just standing there, or they're watching it, and he's like, seeing it on the Jumbotron is so much more real, and it's literally happening right behind
in front of
the building. But what do we even do? I've got an idea, and it's just they're both wasted and naked in bed.
Yeah, because you think, because it's the end of the world, so you have to deal with those end of the world.
Any
you
way
have one
you
last
can.
chance. Let's go bang one out.
Do you think that really happens though? Because the world has
I guess
been
we're
ending.
close enough to the end of the world to
know.
find out.
The world is. I mean, in this case, the world was ending for at least a month.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Well, I think this is earlier on than the month. I think this is probably within the first day or two.
oh, okay.
I don't think this isn't,
I mean,
because it was a flashback.
I would think that would happen if the sky ripped open and all of a sudden there was just a giant crack in the sky. I'm sure people would just. I think there would be a lot of
do you think there'd be more
raiding,
promiscuous doing it or looting going on? What do
I
you,
think
what do you
looting.
think?
Both.
Or
I think
would it
probably
be
both.
Looting for sure. I
one
think
followed by the other?
looting is our number one go-to in times of crisis.
Okay.
That is what people do.
It's your survival instinct.
Would you loot or bang first?
I see.
I'm saying the word bang in a really awkward way. I
You
don't
know
mean
what?
to, but you know what I'm getting at.
I'd probably bang because I'm not. I wouldn't feel the need to survive.
Yeah. Well,
I'd want to go out and having fun, not getting shot by some convenience store owner because they're trying to protect their Doritos.
The irony of that is, though, it's the biological imperative is to make your genetic material continue into the future. And if there is no future, it's strange that you'd feel compelled to do that anyway.
You're gonna want to bust this nut.
I mean, this is Hawaii just experienced this with that false like emergency text.
Do you think
Yeah.
What do you think happened there? Like, how did they like?
So do you
Well,
think
there
like
is-
9 months later there'll be like a bunch of babies?
Well, there's
named
stats on
Texty?
Pornhub that
Yeah.
they released where when it text went out, porn dropped to like an all-time low, and then as soon as they said false alarm, boom, the numbers were through the roof. So that's how people celebrated being able to
Everybody
survive.
stopped watching porn and went to their bathrooms to take shelter or something. Like
Well, no, they were. Everybody was trying to figure out what was going on, and once they figured out what was going on,
they turned their
it, like,
porn
was
back
sad.
on.
they went to porn for relief because they were so stressed out for those 20 minutes of thinking that they were under attack. They're like, "What the fuck is going on? We're gonna die. We're gonna get shot by. We're gonna get blown up." And then they're like, false alarm." Like, oh, I need to calm down.
Yeah, exactly.
a little wound up. I'm just wondering if there'll be like that rash of babies 9 months from that false alarm going off, where they're
Was
like,
it like 20 minutes?
I don't know. It wasn't
before
that
they
long.
sent out
I
the-
think it
yeah,
was
I don't know.
more time of like what the fuck's going on.
Yeah.
Like what? Like because
Is this for real?
Yeah,
Trying to get
and then-
information on it.
whatever.
yeah. So give it a day or two. Then that's when people start going crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, really, it was ever after having my kid, like doing the backwards math. Because in our case, I know exactly when she was conceived. Like I know the position of the sun in the sky. I know what direction I was facing, north. And I'm very aware of the specifics because of the situationals that happened there. But like, if you do the backwards counting, like my birthday's at the end of September, so between Christmas and New Year's, my parents were having a good time, and you can start to see that. Like, and actually, that's the thing. If you look, the end of September, I have the same birthday as like 4 people I know. And the days leading up to it, like there's a range there where it's just
Is
like
it Valentine's Day?
no, it's
No, but that's
Christmas and New Year's.
mine.
Okay.
But me, Jim Twos, Adam Richard, and like 3 or 4 other friends are all born within 2 days of each other. I think Jim and Adam and I all have the same birthday actually. Plus other friends that are in that same range. It's just it's a fun little experiment. I always wanted to have a holiday called Motherfuckers Day, which you could count backwards from Mother's Day, like 10 months, which would actually be 2 months ahead of Mother's Day then. So it would be sometime in July. But you could go buy all of the
So
discounted
you were an
Mother's Day
obligation,
tickers.
baby.
Probably. Either that or they just
I
had a
don't
good
know.
time at the Christmas party.
See, my birthday is the beginning of November, and 9 months before that is Valentine's Day.
There
so
you go.
that's an obligation, baby.
Well, we all know how that worked out, don't we?
Yep.
Oh, God.
I think I was a 4th of July baby.
Somebody saw fireworks that
Yeah.
night.
Somebody did.
Oh, God. It's...
Those things can be dangerous.
Oh, no, I can't breathe. It's not good.
I was probably a St. Patrick's
This-
Day baby.
This seems like a very long time for Kif to finally ask Amy to... I mean, I'm just going to say marry because there's all these other words that are made up.
Fanfanru.
Yeah.
But then
It's
what's
not
fun-
married.
Fanfanru.
It literally translates to "don't sleep with my superior officer." That's what he says, like right at the end of when he
Well,
comes
that-
This
back.
is one of the sex heaviest episodes or anything in the entire show.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
What's Fan Rubach then?
That's the ceremony, the Fan Rubach. This is the
but
ceremony
if
that
the
they-
translation is "don't sleep with my superior officer," then what's the Bach at the end of it?
Party.
Yeah, just conjugation.
Conjugation, yeah. Ceremony. Maybe even ceremony.
Yes, that's what we've been talking about for the last 10 minutes is conjugation.
Genticles.
Genitals.
That word is disgusting.
A lot of this episode is disgusting.
I knew it was going to be just from the title.
Yeah, I was wondering if they'd pull in some kind of Shakespearean reference or something, but it really never got to that level of high art. It was just pretty dirty across the board. The thing that kind of grossed me out the most about this episode, though, wasn't the tentacles. It was Kif's parents as the cloud
As
of
the swarm,
flies.
yeah.
Yeah.
That was my left testicle.
I think about that line all the time for some reason.
I also, the priestess is one of my favorite characters because she's just so
She's everything.
affected by everything that's going around. And there's another episode where
Kif gets
pregnant and has a baby, and she's performing that ceremony too. And in this one, when she's just kind of meandering her way through it, so you can eat the snake if you so choose. And they're like,
they've already taken a bite off of each end of the snake and they spit it out.
I just had an extra snake. Like that's such a.
It's not.
But it's a two-headed
It's not
snake.
a part of the ceremony. I just had an extra snake.
I love I love Kif's planet too. Just how dangerous and
it's like
overgrown
Australia.
it is. Yeah.
I like how Leela is playing Pong on her wrist low jackamator during everything that's going on. Like, she does not care.
Because
she's so jaded. She's like, whatever.
I mean, this is exactly what she's being fawned out over. Almost gets married in the movie before this. And then now Fry isn't even interested in her anymore. And so she's just like, well, what the fuck?
I know, but she's just doing it's like the same as playing a Nintendo emulator or something. I think it's just a throwback.
Yeah, it's a throwback, cute. But it's also, I mean, she's just not into romance during this time.
Seemingly, but she's just internalizing it all. I think.
Yeah, exactly.
Does not want the tentacle. Not at all.
No tentacle.
I know what that's like. The thing so there was a callback on this a bunch of times with Bender's shutoff button. As a, novice to the cartoon, did you find that strange that he just had a button on his back that could slap and turn him off? That A, he wasn't aware of, even though it's been used before, and B, that they did it multiple times. I don't think they've referenced it in about 45 episodes, but it would happen once. I mean, did you find that strange, or were you just like, go with it?
He kind of foreshadowed it because wasn't he like, you can't turn me off, and then they turned him off?
Yeah. It's basically, Bender likes to think of himself as invincible and the most important being in existence, but forgets that he is basically an obsolete robot that just runs around and does whatever Fry and him are up to.
Well, everything is a primitive form of bending, except for bending.
Yeah.
So he can twist it around any way. That's what he's literally done to do. The bagpipe head alien.
That's hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
That was profoundly disturbing for me.
But it's very funny to me.
Just like, have you ever tried to
play the bagpipe?
No, just hold your breath. So, I'm not able to articulate this well, but just like.
I've never tried to turn.
Never tried to pop your eyes out with your breath.
Yeah, that exactly.
I've never tried to play a wedding dirge with my breath.
Like at the end of the ceremony, he bursts into the cloud of hookworms. Yeah.
Again, another very gross moment in the episode.
Yeah, and there's been a bunch of stuff that we're kind of passing around, but when Fry takes Colleen to the wedding, which I'm just going to say wedding, even though I know it's a different thing. Colleen's just like, I love going to exotic worlds and getting hammered, which is really, that's the best kind of vacation, I think.
Oh, yeah.
What's the most exotic place you guys have gotten messed up in? I imagine the Philippines.
Philippines and Jamaica.
Oh yeah.
I did Jamaica. That was a show trip, and that was really cool. That was really fun there.
I just ate a bunch of Jamaican food at this restaurant in Dallas last week.
The trip,
the best part of it
for that show, they paid for it, and you got paid.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I have a good job.
Yeah.
Have you gotten messed up in any exotic locales?
Not really exotic, no.
Any dangerous locales like Youngstown or something?
Well, I started off my undergrad in Youngstown, so yes, I've been drunk in many fraternity houses in Youngstown. So I guess you could say dangerous places.
Okay, so do you think you have a bigger chance of getting stabbed at a frat house in Youngstown or in the Philippines?
I'm going to say frat house in Youngstown.
For sure. Yeah.
And I had a knife pulled on me in the Philippines, and I still feel this way.
You're probably right.
Yeah.
For those of you unfamiliar with the lore of Northeast Ohio, Youngstown is rough. Just generally.
It's a mob town that's gone bad.
Yeah, it's like all the protection rackets dried up. So
There's
it's
a
like,
giant cemetery there.
and their most famous politician had one of the most preposterous wigs ever. Look up Jim Trafficant. He's an interesting guy. Zapp gets right into it with Leland. So basically, Zapp Brannigan is there. One of the best things Billy West does now is he takes quotes from our shitty president and then reads them in Zapp Brannigan's voice and just puts the little clips up on Twitter, and they just fit. Like they're really that same kind of clueless, narcissistic asshole, whatever. But he's also kind of modeled off of like a parody of Shatner parodying Shatner. So it's these removes of Captain Kirk, but that's the basis for it.
Just a real arrogant buffoon.
Exactly. Yeah. Thank you for saying it in 2 words instead of my whole diatribe.
Who's in charge of Earth's military?
Yes.
And he's also a hornball.
But very inexperienced. Like Leela took his virginity earlier in the series, even though he had a sexitorium inside the Nimbus. Mm-hmm. And just the stuff where he's just like, might I escort you behind that bush for 5 minutes? It's just like, I mean, it really is just that whole strategy of I'm just going to say it 10 times, and the 9 times I'll get slapped in the face, but that 10th time...
It'll work.
Yeah. I mean, it's quantity over quality, I guess.
And he hits Leela at the times when she's at her lowest, so he's got a pretty good percentage with her.
Yes, because she's at her lowest a lot. I mean, she's ostensibly disgusted by him, as any reasonable person would be, but like... you know, we get to this probably 45 minutes from now, but Amy ends up getting it on with Zapp. But Amy's kind of a slut. Like, she's really just...
you said it. I didn't.
I'm gonna... hang on. Just hang on.
They used to chastise me because I called Amy a slut.
But, I mean, she's very sex positive and very just sort of like... It's all, you know, whatever. She's got a history of sort of like... getting it on with different species and whatever. So the Kif thing has been this special ongoing thing, but before that, she'd have like a different alien in every episode, and it was no big deal. So it's not, even though it's. I mean, she thought Kif was dead, but I don't think it's weird that she'd be like, yeah, whatever, you know, and then that would be that. It's not.
Yeah, that's who Amy is. She is. I mean, she went home one night with like an orb.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Also, just wait. There's a whole other episode coming up in another season where Kif isn't good enough for her.
Yeah.
So,
oh boy,
I forgot about that. Yep.
The Grand Priestess has 5 grand jobs, at least that she counts to.
All of them are grand.
And that's, but like that weird petroleum muck that they get covered in is disgusting.
Yeah, it's a very disgusting movie, but that bodes well for. I think that diffuses how weird this thing gets later on. Oh, for sure.
After they get drenched in the petroleum goo,
Yeah.
she calls Zapp as the best man and has him hose off the couple.
Yeah.
And he hoses off Kif's face and then moves on to Amy's boobs.
Yeah.
Like, very, very Zapp Brannigan.
Like a wet t-shirt
bouquet. Oh, good God.
Oh,
yeah,
that
the bouquet was gross. You gonna eat
not
that?
to Zoidberg it was.
Yeah.
He's all for it.
What was it? Just weird internal organ, like disposable internal organs, I
Sure,
suppose.
he can regenerate stuff, apparently. I mean, that was the thing that kind of got me, is like I figured, and again, it's jumping ahead, but I can't anymore. I just thought Kif could regenerate himself or something, or like he was the sort of thing where you could pull off a limb and it would grow back, because he's sort of like a weird amphibian. You know, where you could like pull off a lizard's tail and it'll grow a new tail or some shit like that. Can't you cut a worm in half and then it'll turn into 2 worms?
No. I think that was just a really mean thing that people were told.
Mm-hmm. It's not true.
Yeah, that's not true.
Are you sure?
No, they both
just
sex
killing them.
die.
Yeah.
There is a brain on one end.
They squiggle around for a while, but also you can cut a chicken's head off and it'll run around for a while. Mm-hmm. So it's like then they just die.
Unless it's Mike
it's
the
not
Amazing
real.
Headless Chicken, and then you can live for years.
Yeah.
Oh, I believed that. I believed that like earthworms had segments, and like if like
Mhm.
their end fell off, like more would grow back.
Yeah, I used to cut them down like super small. They'd be like, "Oh, I'm making a ton of worms." Nope.
I think the reason that was out there is so that kids
mutilating a creature.
kids wouldn't feel bad when their dads are teaching them to fish and they're trying to break up their worms and to put them on different hooks. So you go, "Oh no, they're fine."
Is that a thing you do?
To break them up?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't want to put too much weird. You're trying to get worms aren't free.
But
I mean, unless they are.
But that's the whole thing. Like that's what I was getting at. Really, if you can cut a worm in half and turn it into 2 worms, the business to be in is the worm business. It'll literally
worm rating.
Yeah, you can double itself with no effort. Just
what bank wouldn't loan for a worm business?
I know. I got into the wrong industry. I should have been selling worms. It'd probably be great to have a bait shop. You could just stand around and listen to people be racist all day and buy animals to kill.
I don't know how much people hang out at bait shops.
I think they do.
I feel like people are in and out.
I think you've watched too many movies where people hang out at bait shops.
I haven't watched any movies where people hang out in bait shops. I'm just imagining it. I would think
Also, I can't imagine
like
there's
a barber shop?
single, more than like a few bait shops that are still open.
There used to be one in Lakewood. I don't know if it's still open.
There's one,
but I think it's part of. I know what you're talking. Well, there's one in Rocky River.
Yeah.
That's near.
It's down
That
on
marina.
Brad Street's Landing.
Yeah, and it's a bait shop, but also like a convenience store.
Well,
Yeah.
there
No,
is
no, no,
there
there
is
used
no
to be a
bait
bait
shop
shop.
that just sells bait. You
All
have
right,
to sell
that's
like coffee and
true,
soft
true.
drinks
Okay.
and
in
cigarettes.
small
probably.
fishing towns, there's probably bait shops.
Yeah.
I feel
With
like they would have
hooks
regulars.
and lures and
I feel like if
Yeah.
you're just selling bait, then you're gonna have a bait stand.
Oh.
And then if it's a full-on shop, then you'll have the lures and the chips and all that other stuff too.
You could now if the worms could be cut in half, you could just be a kid
Mm-hmm.
and go and buy a bunch of worms from the bait shop and cut them in half, and then
God,
go
you're-
down to the pier.
Your overhead would be so low if you could do that.
I know, and that's because that's the whole thing. I thought that like Kif,
One-time purchase of worms,
Yeah.
and then you just keep creating more worms.
because like Kif can become pregnant just by skin to skin contact on any part of his body. So like the biology and he ripped out some clump of internal organs as his Fanfan Ruboke and just tossed it. Like they're a pretty remarkable biological specimen. Even
Well,
though it's
and
made
then
up
the
in
final
cartoon.
form is a cloud of bugs. So maybe that's part of why he can get rid of that stuff, because as he's evolving, he's going to need less
stuff.
because he's going to eventually just be that swarm.
Oh, what happens to the flies when they die?
They probably just
They probably
die
just
out.
they
die.
turn into
Yeah.
that goo.
Yeah, they turn into the
Petroleum.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, yuck.
So anyway,
Yeah.
moving on.
Now we just finished Act 1 of
Oh,
this.
Of
boy.
the first episode. Oh shit! Are we an hour
We're
in
an hour
already?
in.
Wonderful. I'm glad you don't edit the show anymore, Tom.
God, this could buy us like 2 months of worth
Yeah.
of material.
So the Barbamite hair cutting mites, that was awesome. I want that stuff, right?
What happens to the mites after they've consumed your hair?
Who cares?
They
Take a
just
shower,
live in
they're
your
gone.
scalp.
Yeah.
Gee, I'm paying
fine.
like
But how do they know when to stop? Do they eat till they explode and then they
Maybe they're future robot.
who
mites.
cares?
Yeah.
I mean-
it's a great device. I would
Yeah, I mean,
Custom made, probably, because
Yeah.
they're just cutting it back to his normal hairstyle.
my hairstylist is very good. I appreciate everything she does. I still like grit my teeth every time I have to pay for a haircut though, because for like a decade I just shaved my head by myself and it was super easy. If I could just like comb shit through it, it's almost like a Flowbee, but like it was, because I was wondering like why does he
suck
look so
cut.
shaggy and shitty? And it was like, oh, because he fixes that up in like 3 seconds with his paste. It was amazing. But like this is the part that gets weird to me is Bender starts getting all emotional again. I know this happens every time there's a Bender specific episode, but just when he starts,
it happens every time there's anything where Fry isn't just paying attention to Bender. So if Fry is distracted in any way and Bender's not the focal point of his life, he gets real moody real fast.
that's a very needy
Yeah.
place to be.
Yeah. He's got
I mean,
dependency issues.
He got him a cabbage to snack on, even. Which
Humans like cabbage.
I do like kimchi and sauerkraut and like
But
that's
not
all
just
great.
a
But like,
head of cabbage to
do people
munch
even
on.
eat cabbage raw? Does that happen?
Coleslaw, but that's about it, I would say.
And
Yeah.
even then, that's pretty heavily processed shit. Where you're like, either shave it up.
Well, you're gonna
and
do a lot to make it a
palatable.
more fun thing to eat than just a head of cabbage.
Right.
There's no version of a like a wedge salad where it's just cabbage.
There should be though. Like I mean,
My grandma used to eat iceberg lettuce just like an apple.
really?
Yeah. She would just sit.
Was it just to fuck with you, or was she
No,
like,
she just liked
time
iceberg
for
lettuce.
my lettuce?
Yeah, she just liked iceberg lettuce.
Some people eat
I don't know.
onions like apples too.
Some people are fucked up though.
Yeah.
I mean, I like onions.
I
just
do like
fine.
raw
Onions are
onions,
great,
though.
but I can't do raw, but I love onions cooked.
Even raw on on a hamburger, on a salad or something.
But
A
not
little
just
slice.
but not just biting into it. Just
No.
Yeah.
that seems like
There's like a-
torture, or like that seems like someone that's really stubborn that
Well,
said
there's-
that they liked it
Yeah.
and is just
No,
holding it
it's
over someone's
good.
head. They're like, no, I do like it. It's been 25 years.
Well, there's the
Told you.
video that I saw on Facebook. It's like a baby, like a toddler, where the toddler's like crying as she's eating this onion, and like the caption is just like, "I told her it wasn't an apple, and she cried and ate it anyway." Like, this baby is just like, continues taking bites and like sobbing as she's eating an onion.
Is that the fucking Chucky video, or is that a different
That's
one?
a different one.
Okay, I don't watch them. I just see them pop up for a period of time, and then let it go.
Kids.
I liked the St. Asimov's Day reference. That seemed in keeping with sort of the tributes that this show does pull. But the 2D Tunnel of Love is,
Just a line segment, a hotline segment.
Hotline. segment.
yeah, like that just seemed really weird. Like, how would I'm not asking for an actual explanation like how it would work, but just the fact that it like. Do you think it was like an optical illusion, or were they actually being physically compressed or something?
I think they were being physically compressed to a 2D.
Yeah.
Well, they like you saw them get compressed and go through the slot in the wall.
Huh. Okay. I didn't see it because I was probably writing notes about something else, but like that's. Do you think
That would
I've-
do some major organ damage.
I
though.
feel like I would look way better as a 2-dimensional person than a
you
3-dimensional.
would
one.
look like a line segment.
from the side.
On the side, yeah.
From here. But I can make myself look good.
But there would
this
be
way.
no
It's when I
way-
start putting axis on it that it's just like, oh,
There'd be
it's a
no
troll.
way
Fuck.
to go and see you from the front.
I could just twist and turn like this. Right?
No.
No,
No?
you can't. You're
Why?
just stuck in 2 dimensions. That's you moving in 3 dimensions.
No, the plane can
you can move
though.
up and down and side and side.
No, you become a 2-dimensional. You are in a 2-dimensional space, but the 2 dimensions can intersect with the 3rd dimension.
No,
they can't. It's
not in that sake. You can't mix 2D and 1 or 3D like that.
Well, I got a lot of arguments to have with some prior geometry teachers.
And then we
whatnot.
throw in the 4D.
with 40.
I don't know.
Time.
No,
Mhm.
oh, I thought you meant like a 40
No, 4D.
for the
I'll have a
4th
40.
dimension.
There's
Gotcha.
a ride. There's rides that are 4D.
Every ride
It's a
is
movie.
Tom. Every
No,
ride is a
3D
4D.
movie
You're
where
thinking
the
of
seats
4K.
move. No. I saw one at some zoo.
Tom, the 4th dimension is time. So unless you can freeze time, anything you do is actually occurring in 4 dimensions.
Maybe it's 5D.
I don't
60. I don't know.
I saw some 5D and 60 movies on the internet once, but to be honest, it was too much for me. I couldn't keep up.
You can't. No, it moves. It moves up in letter.
What?
I don't know.
A friend of mine is a physicist, and he tried to explain to me once that there's like 11 dimensions that can be mathematically proven, and I think he was just being an asshole.
Is that some shit about string theory?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm not a
I've heard
physicist.
something like that.
Speaking of
before.
which, Stephen Hawking believes in the multiverse
Yes.
theory.
He doesn't
and
believe
he's in this.
shit now.
He's dead now.
Dead. But that was
R.I.P..
It's weird how he timed it like that because
Yeah, and
If anyone's gonna come back from the dead, I would think it would be him.
you think
maybe
But is he gonna
I
come
don't
back?
know.
Is he gonna still? Is he gonna be like a whole version of himself? Like, is he gonna be healed,
No, he's kind
Or
of
is he
gonna
gonna
be
be-
like.
or does he already exist in the cloud somewhere?
Yeah, he
That's what
probably
I'm
will
wondering.
exist in the
Yeah.
crowd.
did he
Cloud.
upload himself like an AI
Yeah.
into? Huh.
Or I think of that one Marvel villain that was.
Yeah, the doctor.
Yeah,
The-
that ends up like going into the computer.
Mhm.
Yeah,
What?
he was in. They
In-
were in Winter Soldier.
The doctor.
Doctor Strange.
No,
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 not Doctor Strange.
No,
The doctor that was
it was a Nazi
experimenting
doctor.
on Bucky. I can't remember.
Yeah.
His
Oh, okay.
name. The little Toby. What's that guy's name?
Toby Jones.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the guy. that played him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it's all gonna happen sometime soon, and then we'll all be taken over by the machines. This is the point where Fry moves in with Colleen, or agrees to anyway. But they decide to go to this scientific conference at the Institute for Advanced Book Learning.
And that's where they see Stephen Hawking on a way cool rocket.
Now, did you guys think that was actually him before you saw the end credits?
Yes, because I know he's done other.
He's done.
He's
this
been
shit.
on this
He's
before,
been on
but
Futurama.
I was
it's
just-
it's
yeah.
always him.
Did you,
I
Liz,
did
think?
not.
No,
I had
you
no
just thought they
idea.
were just.
Yes, it is the real Stephen Hawking doing his like
Speak
computer
and
voice.
spell.
Like he actually used his computer voice to be on The Simpsons and Futurama
Do you-
like numerous times.
Do you think they use a microphone?
That's
or do
what
you
I
think
was-
they
They plug
do a
it
direct
in?
input?
I bet it's a direct input.
I think it's a DI.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, to be honest, I feel like they
Do you
could.
think they do one of each? Do you think they like to
They
make
mix
him feel
it?
better?
Honestly,
they put a
that's
microphone. They mic him up, but then they also like slide up.
because they could get
Yeah.
some of the breathiness with it.
I love the ongoing thread of how he's a huge dick in Futurama, like always. And Leela says, "Black hole Hawking. Wow, if I knew that I was going to meet you, I would have done something with my hair." And he just goes, "You should have." Like he's always such a dick. Like in another one of the previous episodes, he when he takes credit for Fry's discovery and calls it the Hawking hole. Like, nope, I found it. It's the Hawking hole.
They're all kind of assholes though.
Yeah.
Like
Who
Wormstrom
are you gonna
is-
believe?
Mm-hmm.
Who are they gonna believe? You or Stephen Hawking, author of blah blah blah?
Wormstrom. He's one of the professor's old students who has now sort of eclipsed him in fame, or at least in academia, because the professor kind of went off into like mad scientist land. But Wormstrom is still in. He's a professor at a college, and that's why he has like the grad students and everything. But
Amy is his grad student.
yeah, that's right. But she never seems to be going to school.
No. There is an episode later
Yeah,
that
when she's
addresses that.
finishing up.
Yeah.
But when they start arguing about
Pete's gonna love that episode.
oh
Mhm.
my god, where the professor's like, my staff is twice as qualified and 3 times as expendable.
And no one's more expendable than my staff.
Yeah, I mean it's beautiful, and the whole death ball thing was fantastic. I think like
That was hilarious. Yeah.
that would be like someone needs to invent that shit for real.
That would be fun. I was thinking that as I was watching this, like Death Ball would be great. I would play Death Ball.
Yeah.
How do you know which holes are for which team?
It's
Or
just
did-
if you get
Yeah, I
the ball
think it's
through,
whoever gets it through.
turns your color.
Whoever's
Oh,
steering.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
I mean, so even to do it, like it's gotta be. It can't be that difficult. They've built shit like that already, where it's like some kind of hydraulic thing that could move it.
Yeah, I mean I just love that because it's a callback to seeing, like, to my childhood and seeing those like labyrinth marble games all over the place,
Yeah.
and always loving those things. And
But I could never own one.
yeah, I don't think I ever
I
owned one
didn't
either.
either.
But they were
They own
they're
you,
fun.
Tom.
Yeah. But so like seeing that and then having them try and direct the balls and like running on top of them and
Are getting like squashed.
Yeah.
And just
Very
like
funny.
the suits and everything were like,
kind of Tron-esque.
yeah. And And like people are getting smashed, but then they're
like little
okay.
leotards.
Yeah.
They had little
I mean,
one-piece leotards.
even if it was done on a flat surface and you were in one of those like big inflatable balls, like you can go in at the county fair, you know, the ones like that float on water and you can kind of roll, like that would be just as fun.
Yeah.
Because you could still have the people on the outside like trying to steer it and push it away. But if you could make the ball run into, this is another $1 million idea. God damn it!
Write it down.
We do, but people
We copyright it while we're talking about
That's
it.
right. It's
Patent
time
pending.
stamped. But then the flashes to Colleen in the stands. This happens 3 or 4 times in the episode where she's just wasted, like double fisted.
You got 2 beers. Bust those balls.
Which brings up, could Colleen have a lot of issues? Is that what's going on, you think?
Well, she's a police officer and a good one at that, so probably. I mean, I imagine
Yeah, she's
she's
seen
got
some shit.
some rage issues, some PTSD. I mean, her name's Colleen O'Hallahan, so she's Irish, and that brings a lot of baggage with it, as I happen to know from personal experience.
She needs a lot going on with her life.
She's just an onion that they keep peeling back in the course of these 4 episodes, where it's like, oh yeah, and
There's
then
one person that you never see again ever in the series.
but she's in a 4-episode run. It's a
That's
guest. It's a
true.
guest spot
Yeah.
arc. You know, I think Jon Favreau was on Friends at least that long, right?
About 2 or 3 episodes, maybe.
Yeah, that's all.
That's
you
pretty
needed.
common. Is like, is it 3 or 4?
I think they bring him back later, and then there's a couple other ones.
Yeah. But like his initial arc was.
I'm glad we're all equally good, though. It's something to cheer about. It's another one of those Zoidberg lines where it's just, hey, we're equally good. So this is the big reveal with Colleen and her polyandrous situation.
And I think a lot of lead up to it and like little things, like I think Bust Those Balls is her being excited about who she is. Like she's in this open relationship now that she's not having them all have sex with her at the same time. But I thought that was kind of funny. Maybe. I don't think that was ever the situation.
No, it's I mean, it's very odd to begin. I don't know. It just it seems sort of well, so the other layer to this, I guess, after her one boyfriend finds his butterscotch in her mouth.
Well, it's Fry. Fry finds his.
Right.
He kisses her and gets the other dude's butterscotch in his mouth. But yeah, so there's Chew and Bolt and Ndulu are her other boyfriend, and Shlomo.
But so it's like another stack of problematic accents from Billy West.
Yes.
And I still haven't been able to determine. I mean, it's really difficult now to kind of look at this stuff and go, well, okay, is he being a respectful Asian or is he being a cartoon caricature? And if he is that okay? Like, it happens periodically. It doesn't happen a lot, and certainly not as often as, say, like Apu on The Simpsons or something. But like, oh my God, my head wraps itself in knots about this stuff, because then it's like, okay, well, Stewie, and I hate Family Guy to begin with, but like Seth MacFarlane isn't British. Like, is that where does this line get drawn with accents and things, and what does it mean? I don't know, but I just cringe when I hear Billy West do like a Leo Wong.
Yeah.
He does Leo's voice, and you're like, I get the character's supposed to be kind of ridiculous.
And the character isn't just an Asian guy that like is running a Chinese restaurant or anything like that. I think the character itself is interesting, and they're actors and they're paid to do these things. It's still a skill to be able to do those voices. So
he's very skilled.
And that's why I don't have a problem with it, because one thing, there's a budget. Are you going to, and you need a certain performance too. So it's not just doing the voice to sound like that way. You have to have timing, and you have to have comedic effect to make those things hit. So that's why I don't think it's a thing that you need to get up in arms over.
I mean, I don't have a place to get up in arms about it. I'm a straight white guy. So it's just, I'm trying to be sensitive, and I don't know how sensitive I need to be.
I just
Yeah, well, exactly. It's back to outrage fatigue. I don't
just think there's so many things to be sensitive about, and I don't know if the fact that this cartoon was canceled 3 times and then brought back is where we need to be like, hey, cancel it again.
Oh wait, so when
Can't enjoy this
Zoidberg
anymore.
when Zoidberg goes, I thought I was playing for my freedom. Freedom from what? Like, does he think he's a slave, or is he a slave?
He definitely owes a debt to the professor.
Professor owes him.
Ah, yes, that's actually true.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was just a funny line.
Okay.
Yeah.
Something
I think it was
Zoidberg would say.
ding dong.
Because he's a ding dong to begin with. Okay.
Ding dong.
Because he's looking for something.
I thought I was playing for my freedom.
Yeah, like
the line about stop shilly-shallying it's just ridiculous, but I love it. I need to put that into my day-to-day vernacular.
Prep the ship and line up for your pre-flight coffee enemas. The enema you're about to enjoy is extremely hot.
I'll take mine to go.
I know that's a thing. What is a coffee enema supposed to do?
It cleans you out and gives you a jolt of energy because you're absorbing the caffeine through your rectum.
Will that actually happen though?
Yes. There's My Strange Addiction. There's an episode of a couple that were giving themselves 2 to 3 or like maybe even 4 coffee enemas a day.
That seems very excessive.
Yeah, well, it was. That's why it was My Strange Addiction. And they're just like, but they were wired. They were ready to go, and they felt good.
But it has to be coffee. It couldn't be like a 5-hour energy that you just.
I mean, anything as long as the caffeine can get in there, because
people,
that's like
people butt chug vodka and shit.
That'll
That's a
get you drunk.
thing.
Do they?
Because
Yeah,
that's really
gross.
sensitive.
I mean,
it gets into the bloodstream fast.
But is that like? I know
You got
people.
any vodka?
I do actually. I don't have a funnel though, so we're shit out of luck.
Ha!
No pun intended. I'm sorry.
Pun made.
But is that?
I made it a pun.
I mean, I know that you can, but do people do?
I mean, I think stupid people do. Like
People eat Tide
with Tide
Pods,
Pods,
okay?
Yeah.
So yes.
I know of a girl who has butt chugged an entire bottle of vodka, and I'm
Why?
not going to go any further into that. I don't know her,
Is
but I know
she
of
single?
her. No idea.
I am
Or
curious
is she
about.
dead?
Go to McGinty's and ask around. That's all I'll say.
Can you tell us like what some
No,
of the
I don't know
effects or
anything about her.
You don't know.
All I know is that she can do it, and when I was there one time, someone pointed her out to me, so I know of her. But
How do they? I mean, that's
So you weren't actually there.
I wasn't
for
there,
It.
but several
Did this
people that
happen
I
in
know
the
very
bar?
well were.
I'm on a quest.
I have no further information.
Was it at one time?
I think it was multiple times. I don't know.
Like
It's not
just-
one chug.
It was like I was
You have
there
to
with
get through
some
the
people
night.
that I knew, and one of the people said, "Hey, that girl over there that our mutual friend is talking to, she can butt chug an entire bottle of vodka." And I was like, "What?" And she was like, "Yeah, I saw it." And that was like that's the extent of what I know.
Is the effect supposed to be like better than drinking the alcohol? Is that
Apparently,
the
like
idea?
I guess girls like they'll soak tampons in vodka
have heard that.
and
I think-
insert those.
Because then you're not getting the calories.
You're not eating it; you're just absorbing it into a more like
your
Into your belly,
bloodstream.
yeah. into your-
mucosal.
It's taking the liver out of the equation, basically.
I mean, it
No,
still
your
goes
your
into your
liver still has to
bloodstream.
filter the blood.
yeah, but I
just-
mean, well,
Won't make you pee.
It
That's
seems
true.
like a lot of
Yeah,
work.
but you're gonna shit your
does.
brains out.
like you should
you-
go shower first,
Yeah.
and then like wear like pants that are easily like moved around or something.
I feel like
because
it's something
gotta-
that you do. Like that's a pre-game move.
Wait, but, okay, but just for, I want to deconstruct this. If it's a whole bottle of vodka, now we'll assume it's
Roll
a
up to the
fifth.
club. Like, what's up? Got a butt chug.
750 milliliters. That's a lot of liquid to hold in any part of your body at one time. I mean, and
Yeah, I don't think
I've,
they're doing it in one.
I have
that's just
taken
a
some
lot.
sizable dumps in my life. I don't know that I could.
This is also a staple of this podcast. Is Pete bragging about his shit?
I'm just as a point of order. I don't think that seems like a lot of, because not only it's not just like you pour it up there and it disappears. You got to hold it in for it to absorb, and if you drank an entire fifth of vodka all at one time, your body would start to reject it anyway. Like you would get alcohol poisoning. Whether you and I would think the difference between taking it in through your mouth or taking it in through your butt is when you take it in through your mouth and it goes to your stomach, there's at least some sort of breakdown and processing that happens before it enters your bloodstream. Whereas if you just pour it straight on up the old, back door, it's going to be straight. It's like it, right into the bloodstream, which would be even more toxic to your body. So
yeah, I'm pretty sure you could probably die.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that you would, but I think you'd probably end up.
I think what would happen is your body would expel the majority of it before it even got absorbed.
But it would have to be like you'd have to be sitting upside down. Like
it's
you could
basically
sit
a waste
upside
of
down
vodka.
on a couch.
Yeah, it's like you're doing a keg stand.
Or
You
a
give yourself
headstand.
an enema, and it's going to come out.
But then you can make like a fountain.
Right, that's the whole point of an enema, right? To clear
Squirt
you
it,
out.
Yeah, you squirt it back out of the
So-
old pooper.
I mean, really, you could probably put it in a bag and then just like throughout the course of the evening, just lift it back up and let gravity do the job.
Gross. Okay, let's move on off of coffee enemas.
Let's
or
start
butt
talking about
chugging.
crack slams.
Yeah, so that was hilarious.